Leeds achieved city status in 1893, and soon after, plans were laid out to create City Square in the style of an Italian piazza, with statues and trees. Colonel Thomas Walter Harding was the driving force behind the idea, and it remains like that today, although in the intervening period, and for some time, it was more like a large triangular roundabout inside busy roads, with a tall pedestrian railing restricting access. City Square is set to change again, and so I decided to capture City Square as it is today and tell you something about the buildings and statues. One of the most significant features of City Square is the statue of Edward the Black Prince on horseback by Thomas Brock. Edward had no specific connection with Leeds, and the choice of subject therefore caused something of a stir. Brock took 7 years to create it, and it was unveiled in 1903 to cheering crowds. The buildings that surround City Square are an interesting mix. The former Leeds General Post Office covers the northwest side of the square. It is an impressive Grade 2 listed building in classical style by architect Sir Henry Tanner. It opened on the 18th of May 1896, and 4 figures by William Silver Frith are over the 2 front entrances. 4 figures at a higher level have been said to represent time, air, light and earth. There are also a couple of Leeds owls to look out for. The building remained in use as a post office up until 2004. It has since been carefully repurposed as apartments and restaurants at considerable expense. The telephone booths outside the front are K6 design and are also Grade 2 listed buildings. Looking on, in front of the old post office are 4 statues of significant people. John Harrison was a local cloth merchant and benefactor of Leeds, having built a church and a grammar school. This statue was erected in 1903 and is by the sculptor Henry Charles Fair. Dr. Walter Hook was a vicar of Leeds and a major influence on both religion and education in the city. He was responsible for rebuilding the parish church, now known as Leeds Minster, and many schools. His statue was erected in 1902 and is by the prolific sculptor Frederick William Pomeroy. Joseph Priestley was one of the most eminent ministers of Mill Hill Chapel, which looks on to City Square. More of that later. During his time in Leeds, his research led to the discovery of oxygen in 1774, and he also co-founded the Leeds Library and the Infirmary. James Watt had no specific connection to Leeds. He was a famous engineer and typified the technological change which had made Leeds into a city. The most controversial feature of the square are the 8 semi-nude females holding lamps, which have attracted criticism since they were unveiled in 1899 and have survived attempts to remove them ever since. They are by Alfred Drury, and there are 2 forms, one named as Morn, holding a lamp in her right hand and clutching some flowers, and the other named as Even, holding a lamp in her left hand with her other hand to her head. It will be interesting to see if they survive the latest remodelling of the square. I hope they do. These figures have witnessed great changes in the city, and I think most people think of them fondly. The most recent addition to the statues in City Square is the sculpture Legs Walking by Leeds-born Kenneth Armitage, which was created in 2001 and erected outside Mill Hill Chapel in 2018. It is the second addition to the city by the Leeds sculptor. Both Arms in Millennium Square is also his work and was inaugurated by Nelson Mandela in 2001. Although there was a Queen's Hotel looking onto the square at conception, the current building arrived later. The grand and unique edifice which stands today was not constructed until 1937, replacing an earlier hotel from 1863. The Art Deco style is somewhat typical of the period, and the front is clad in Portland stone. The Queen's Hotel was built as a flagship hotel for the Leeds railway station, designed to reflect the emergence of Leeds as an economic powerhouse. Two railway stations, the New Station and Wellington Station, initially lay behind the new hotel, and in 1938 they were joined to create Leeds City Station. Mill Hill Chapel is the oldest of the buildings surrounding City Square. The dominance of nonconformity in religious worship is an interesting feature of the city's history. There has been a chapel looking out across this space for almost 350 years. The original Puritan-style meeting house chapel was built here in 1674, but during the early Victorian period it was showing signs of age and wear, and a new building designed by architects Henry Bowman and Joseph Crowther was opened on December 27, 1847. It is constructed in Potter Newton and Meanwood stone and is still in regular use. Many people pass it by on a daily basis, but if you have the opportunity, do take a look inside. It is a beautiful chapel with really attractive features. A picture on the wall highlights the connection with Joseph Priestley, who was the minister in the old chapel between 1767 and 1773. Between the 1960s and 1995, the north of City Square was home to the Norwich Union Building and another office block with an adjoining skyway. The skyway was intended to go across the whole city centre, but was never completed. After being voted the ugliest building in the UK, the buildings to the north of City Square were demolished and rebuilt. Number 1 City Square was completed in 1998 by Abbey Hanson Rowe and is a dramatic corner block. Its white marble walling, fenestration and Art Deco references echo the Queen's Hotel opposite. The glazed recessed atrium provides an open vista to the square. The Majestic building stands at the southwestern edge of the square. Constructed as a cinema in the early 1920s during a boom in the building of picture palaces, it was closed in 1969, after which the Majestic was used as a bingo hall and later as a nightclub. In 2014 it was badly damaged in a fire, resulting in the loss of all interior and roof features. Subsequently, it has been redeveloped into offices by Rushbond, serving as the national headquarters of Channel 4 and looking resplendent following the repairs. On the eastern end of City Square is the Park Plaza Hotel, formerly known as Royal Exchange House. The tower was completed in 1966 after construction began in 1965 and was then an office block. It was redesigned in 2004 to host the 4-star Park Plaza Hotel. With a roof height of 77 metres and 20 floors, it was Leeds' tallest building for 7 years, from 1966 to 1973, when it was succeeded by West Riding House, now known as Pinnacle. At the very southeastern corner of the square is the former Yorkshire Banking Company Grade 2 listed building in granite with a distinctive copper dome. The Yorkshire Banking Company began in 1843 after taking over the Yorkshire District Banking Company. The Yorkshire Banking Company came to an end in 1901, 2 years after the branch opened, joining 3 other banks to form London City and Midland, and eventually becoming Midland Bank Limited. The building is now used as a bar and is on one of the busiest corners of City Square, with frequent traffic passing by. The new vision for City Square is entitled The Glade, apparently inspired by an ancient woodland where the settlement we know today as Leeds was built. Although the designs are at an early stage, the intention is for the revamped City Square to be a vibrant and inclusive mix of open and shaded areas, with the historic Black Prince statue continuing to take pride of place. Hopefully, the new square will be a success and will allow greater use of the space, taking into account public opinion on what should happen to this iconic corner of the city. I do hope you have enjoyed this overview of City Square. Please press like if you have. This is part of the Leeds Local History Collection. Please subscribe to see more videos like this and to support the channel. Thank you for watching.